All right, John. Let's pick it up from where we left off. Where was that? I don't remember. It's been a whole 30 seconds.
They don't need to know that.
They do, because that's how we ended the last episode.
And we're wearing the same clothes. So if you're watching,
we are wearing
YouTube,
the exact same clothes. I haven't even adjusted my hat. Okay, here we go. I'm going to adjust my seat. There we go. I'm not usually sitting when we do these. I'm usually standing.
Furniture. I don't know if that's
that wasn't the furniture.
It was. That was a recliner. Okay, we have to start. Okay, I'm going to start, but then I think, oh my gosh, it's still Sunday.
Yeah, the day hasn't changed either. It was literally 30 seconds.
I know, but they don't know that. Okay, so let's pretend that we don't know that they don't know that.
Okay, you don't, folks, if you're listening or watching, you don't know that you don't know what we know that Correct. You don't know. So what you know isn't what you know, it's what we know. Okay? All right, let's go.
I don't know. Travel. We were talking about travel.
We were talking about travel.
Oh my goodness.
That was fun.
Have you the travel part or talking about it?
Oh, neither.
Delayed flights, not good. Okay, but have you ever or many times been on a ferry?
Oh, I could go so many places with that
comment.
No, I have never been on a ferry.
At all?
Not that I know of. Well, if you count the ferry that doesn't carry anything to Mackinac Island, then yes.
The no-carry ferry?
The no-carry ferry.
Interesting you said.
I've been on a ferry flight.
Yeah, no shit. I heard about you on that flight. I have something to show you.
Oh?
That has relevance to what you just mentioned. And I hope you can see it.
Not right now.
Hold on, I'll get in there. That's
a fast ferry.
The Mackinac Island Ferry.
Oh, so wow. Okay, folks. I didn't even mention John had not even mentioned the Mackinac Ferry when I said that.
Did not. Which is funny. Incidentally what they're calling you behind your back.
Well, hey, I've had worse nicknames.
Yes, me too. We were there.
And they weren't said behind my back.
We were there a couple weeks ago, and we did not get on the ferry, but we had a great view of it from the south. What do they call that? The lower Michigan viewing point of the Mackinac Bridge.
Okay.
And so anyway, it's kind of cool, but it has that rooster tail, which I never knew. It looks like a jet ski doing a rooster tail when it's right. I never knew that, nor had I seen that before, but it's going over to the island, as I understand.
Very cool. Is it a jet boat?
It must be with a rooster tail like that, but it is a ferry, and I think you're right. It ferries only people and bicycles.
Right, because
maybe the occasional quarter horse.
Right. For those who don't know, Mackinac does not have
Mackinac Island.
Mackinac Island does not have any mechanized. It does have it. You shouldn't say that. The people that run it, they have golf carts, but they do have trucks and they have maintenance vehicles. But it's only
probably electric. I think they're not.
They might be now, but they weren't when last time I was there. Okay. There was no such thing as an electric vehicle.
I've never been to the island, but I've been across the bridge a few times. No, well, we had the Harleys, so we, what are you going to do? I guess we could park the Harleys and crawl over, but you need to spend a day over there anyway.
Yeah.
Unless you stay at the Grand Hotel or whatever.
Right. Which is gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. You can, there's an airport there too. You can fly in.
I do know that. Yeah. But would that be weird? You fly in and enjoy your walk.
Yeah, exactly. They rent bikes at the airport. I do know that.
Oh, great. That'd be terrific. I need a tricycle. So that said, on ferries, we've been across Lake Michigan a couple of times. Oh, Lisa hit me with something cool too. You know how you remember all the lakes in the Great Lakes?
I don't.
The word homes, Homes. Huron, Ontario, Michigan, Erie, Superior.
Oh,
isn't that cool?
You're missing one.
There are 5.
There's actually 6.
Huron. Okay, and what's the other one then?
I don't remember.
Oh,
it's nowhere near as big, but there is actually there is a mass of water that is not named. I'm sorry, not is separate from all the Great Lakes, but it connects all the Great Lakes, and they actually consider that a Great Lake.
It is not. Who is they?
I don't know.
There are 5 Great
Someone who's
Lakes.
not me.
These are drunks at a bar in
Let's see.
Wisconsin. And I know because I've seen and been drunks in a bar in
Well, you live in
Wisconsin.
Wisconsin, right?
Come on.
I'm working on it. It came up right away.
This show is all about being on time.
Lake Champlain.
Oh, that's crap. That's
okay. Here we go.
Yeah.
This is why Lake Champlain briefly became the nation's 6th Great Lake on March 6th, 1998, when President Clinton signed Senate Bill 927. The bill, which was led by U.S. Senator Patrick Leahy of Vermont, and reauthorized the National Sea Grant Program, contained a line declaring Lake Champlain to be a Great Lake.
Yeah. So I'm guessing it was just for that day because it's not
Probably
accurate today. Yeah. And okay,
I'm trying to find out why it's not considered a Great Lake anymore.
Because it's not okay. Where is Lake Champlain? Do a little.
It's New York State.
And gosh, what a surprise that Leahy was involved in that.
We should really do our research before we do the podcast.
No,
that would
1,
be
2, 3, 4, 5. Yes, it's so I suppose they would say, I'm trying to find there's Lake Simcoe. I can't believe they're ignoring that.
Yeah, it's not the one I remember. I remember Lake Champlain. The only reason I know that is when I was in high school, my senior year of high school, which was 96, 97.
Yeah.
I'm aging myself now, but not as much as you.
Shove it.
Anyway, my high school required 20 hours, I think, of community service to graduate. That's what you had to have. So you could join groups, and the group that I joined was the Great Lakes Conservancy. So we learned about all the Great Lakes, and we went and did Great Lake projects and reports and things on the Great Lakes. So that's why I knew that. And it just happened to be 96, 97, which is probably why it stuck out in my brain.
Sure. I'm still trying to find out where it is. So
it's New York. It's New York State.
Yeah. Where? In New York State? Big state. Huge state.
North by Albany.
Okay.
It
like
is
Syracuse? No, that's
no Lake Champlain. It's on the Vermont, New York border, and Quebec. It's right up by Quebec.
Here's Albany.
It's north of Lake George. Plainsburg is right on the border. Burlington is right on the border. Yeah.
Yeah, that's not even in the neighborhood.
No, it's not the one I was thinking of, but that's what it said when I looked it up. So
that's a lie. Anyway, Homes, Homes, the real Great Lakes, Huron, Ontario.
18 days. 18 days is how many days it was a Great Lake.
Michigan, Erie, and Superior, the real Great Lakes. Okay, never mind. Now I'm coming back to look at your face. Oh, gosh, no, I need to get back to Lake Champlain. So Lisa knew that, and I was impressed. I mean, I've known them because I grew up around the Great Lakes, so it's no big deal. There are 2 ferries that I know of, at least, that cross Lake Michigan. One is the SS Badger.
Right.
Named for the badger mascot of the great state of Wisconsin.
No.
I know. And it takes about 4.5 hours to cross Lake Michigan. And it goes to it's Manitowoc, Wisconsin to Ludington, Michigan. And it's actually a historical vessel, and it has protected status because it burns coal.
I think you remember telling me this.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Or maybe you or Matt, because Matt was talking about taking the ferry across too.
Right.
Matt Smolik.
Right.
Because he is spending a lot of time in Chicago and he lives in Cleveland. And he's having a tough time flying from Cleveland to Chicago and getting rental cars.
Oh.
So he's like, I'm just going to drive, and then maybe just to be a little bit faster, because it's still 4 hours, but instead of taking a 6-hour trip around Lake Michigan to get up, he can just go
Yep.
right across. So he's
There is
been
another
considering
choice.
that.
And the other choice is and maybe this is what he's referring to, the fast ferry. It's called the Lake Express ferry that
Yeah, that's
goes
the one he
from
was talking about.
goes from Milwaukee to Muskegon, Michigan.
Okay.
So it's much further south than the Badger is. Badger's up higher in the state.
Okay.
And it's also about twice the price. So
Yeah.
I'm not sure what the company's
Yeah,
policy will
that's
be.
what his hesitation was
Yeah.
too, was the
Well, and so
cost.
I'd been on it before. The difference is the Badger's massive. There are regularly a couple of semis that will join the 100
Oh,
plus cars
wow.
that go on. So I mean, it's a big ship, and it also because it's so big, it is not nearly as susceptible to the waters of Lake Michigan when it's a little rough.
Mhm.
What's interesting is you're going east-west, of course, across the lake, but everything on Lake Michigan is a north-south wave. And so
So
any
you're
of the
rolling.
weather, so we were on the Lake Express ferry this just at the beginning of the weekend, and it was really rough. It was the roughest I've ever seen it
Really?
going across on the little dinky ferry. And
Yeah.
that is the 46 cars. It's still big, it's a huge boat,
Sure.
but it's a catamaran. And so as we're
Which
crossing, it's like this side to side.
catamarans, for those of you who haven't watched as much YouTube as John and I have, catamarans sit on top of the water. I
Yep.
know this is gonna sound weird, but it sits on top of the water, so you feel everything, whereas a monohull sits in the water and cuts
Yep.
through it, so you
It
don't
only
get as
sits on
much
top of the
bobbing.
water once you get up to speed. Right.
Right,
So, I mean, it rests in the water as normal, but you're right. It has because it has less surface area actually in the water, it's able to go faster.
right.
So that's the benefit, and they call it the fast ferry. It's 35 knots typically is what
Wow.
the speed is across. It's pretty fast, and so consequently, the time across the lake is about 2.5 hours. So
Okay.
it is much faster than the Badger. It's also much rollier.
Yeah.
And Lisa opted to take some Dramamine
Very smart.
as soon as we started because it was, I mean, and we were in the up level cabin, which faces back. And
Okay.
so not only are we facing back and it's doing this, you had to look to the side a little bit just to get a sense of the
The
motion
horizon.
forward. Oh my
Yeah.
god. And so it was rough. And I'm we have stewards coming in and, "Hey, did you wanna have some food?" And Lisa's like, "No." I said, "Yeah, you know what? Bring me I'll have a, grilled Caesar chicken wrap." And they brought
Not
that, and I'm eating chips.
jeez.
"What? What?" It didn't bother me much, but it was a little rolly in the tummy.
Yeah.
And 2.5 hours later, we made it fine over to Muskegon, of course. But I mean, you could tell it was pushing so hard that it would boom, like slap with the waves under the bottom of the boat. When we went down, and the cars are on the lower level, of course, which makes
Mhm.
sense, keep the low center of gravity, and went to get the cars after we were docking, or as we were docking, and there was water everywhere
Oh,
on
no.
that deck. Oh my gosh. So there was some splashing going on the lower deck.
Wow.
It was quite a
Do people get to stay in their cars when they're down there if they
no,
want
good
to?
question. No, you have to 2 things they requested: roll up your windows,
That's
figured that
smart.
out, and, leave your car, you can't come back. So
Hmm,
you can't even, "Oh, I forgot something in the car." They close off that deck, which is
interesting.
great because you don't have to worry about somebody, grabbing something out of your car or
Right, right.
whatever, and they also ask you not to lock your car because there are some motion sensitive alarms which would
Oh,
be
I see.
going off,
Yeah,
especially with a rough crossing like we had uh,
interesting.
earlier this weekend. So anyway, happily, and we did the return trip as well. Happily, it was just like glass coming back. So
Oh, that's good.
oh, this is awesome. I don't even
We
remember
should
how
do
bad
this
it
more
was.
often.
Yeah, no, it was. And you try to walk someplace on the boat. Lisa said, I think there's some Dramamine over there. Could you go? Okay, and I stand up, and then suddenly the boat does one of these. So I'm holding onto the pole, and then suddenly it goes this way, and I'm going at 20 miles an hour over to the other side of the boat. And there's no Dramamine there. So I'll be right back. You got to go in between rolls to get to where you're going. There are guys going in, people going into the bathrooms. And I'm like, there is no way. I mean, even seated as a man, even if you're seated, there's no way I'm going in there.
Yeah.
It's going to be boom, boom, hitting your head just getting in the door.
I can see you. I just want video of you dancing on the deck of this boat.
It was on the deck. This was inside
well, it's still the deck. It's a deck.
I guess it's
the Lido deck.
I almost got knocked out I almost got decked on the deck. It was it was really rough on that boat. And we were on a cruise ship one time, many years ago, 8-day cruise. And we were at one spot in the Caribbean, and the captain said there are 10 to 12 foot waves. So it's going to be, this is a massive Carnival Cruise Line ship back, whatever it was, 23, 5, 7 years ago. And it was fine, but you could still feel it, but that was about all it did. There was very little movement. This thing is it's like a small craft with you got some turbulence, and the aircraft is tough.
I do not have a desire to go on a cruise whatsoever. Yeah. And one of the first things Jen asked me was, what, are you afraid of hitting bad storms? And I'm like, no, that would be incredibly fun. That'd be the only reason to be on a cruise ship.
Wow. Nick, they're forecasting storms for our cruise. I'm bringing a swimming suit, and you are bringing Jim Cantori garb so you can be outdoors. Well, yes, I'm holding on for dear life here. This is awesome.
Yeah. Do you think Jim Cantori does that? I'm sure he does.
I know he does. You've seen him on the hurricane. It's like holding on with one hand to a railing, and he's completely not.
Do you think it's like that Anderson? Did you ever see that Anderson Cooper when he got busted by someone he was interviewing?
It was awesome.
That was great. I wonder if that's the same thing Jim Cantori runs into.
Sadly, it's indicative of what we often see.
Yeah. And for those of you who have not seen that, Anderson Cooper was doing some reporting during it was during a hurricane, right?
I think it was
or right afterwards or something like that. And he's talking about all the terrible destruction that happened and this, and he's standing in front of a house with a massive tree that went right through it. And he was bringing people in and talking to him about all of the whole disaster, the whole storm, and all their stories. And this one person walks up and he said, "Yeah, I live next door. This is the worst house on the block. It's the only one that got damaged."
Okay, back to you in the studio.
Yeah, it was freaking hilarious.
He obviously has brain damage.
Yeah. And I'm a fan of Anderson Cooper, so that wasn't disappointing because I've worked in the industry and I know that you got. I mean, it's all about getting people to watch, so you're going to look for that stuff.
Getting the right shot. It's just
right.
The problem is just a general media statement. It's not journalism like it used to be.
Oh, not at all.
It's ratings, and it's a 24-hour news cycle. And so any picture that those of us who are old enough to remember a Walter Cronkite or, Huntley and Brinkley and guys like, they were real journalists.
Right.
But it changed at some point into it turns into a fictional. Getting the shot is awesome for a movie or some sort of a show that is designed to get people. But if it's jaded as journalism, it's not journalism. You're still trying to get the shot.
Right.
And so anyway, but I understand why they do it. You're right. It's ratings, and it's that's why they do it. That's
well, then they have to. So John and I had talked. We talked briefly about our political leanings, and we don't do politics on this show, but much. But I do enjoy certain things that do not follow necessarily my political leanings. One show in particular that I absolutely love and really, really, truly enjoy is, oh shit, now I can't remember the name.
Can I just, okay, before you try to remember
I
anymore,
watched it last night.
this is why some people watch and listen to us, because they say he's going to say something. Wait for it. Wait for it.
Yeah,
Oh,
no,
crap.
I
I
know what it
can't
is now.
remember the name.
It's The Good Fight.
Okay, good.
It's a spinoff, and that's why I got confused because it's a spinoff of The Good Wife, but
Good
it's The
fight
Good
and
Fight.
good wife. Okay.
Yeah, The Good Fight. The Good Wife was,
I've heard
Margulies,
of that.
yeah, Juliana Margulies, and
Oh,
it's
okay.
a
Yeah.
lawyer show,
I
and it
like her.
had
She
Christine
was in
Baranski.
ER or something,
Yep,
wasn't she?
yep, yep,
Okay.
yep,
Yeah.
and it had Christine Baranski in it, and
Oh, yeah.
Christine has now gone to this show, The Good Fight, and is the main character in The Good Fight, along with, a few other really, really incredible characters. I can't remember, I can't remember her name, but she played the dresser in the, live action version of the, Beauty and the Beast.
Oh, oh, well,
I just can't
Joanne
remember her name.
Worley was the one who played it in
Right, no, we're talking about the live
animation.
action,
Yeah,
the recent
got it.
one.
Yeah.
She's an incredible actress, but so Christine Baranski joins an African American law firm, and
Okay.
there's a lot of there's a lot of politics in the entire show, but some of it gets really funny, and the one I watched last night was exactly what you're talking about. They were putting, I don't remember what the law is, but they were putting a law on trial. They were trying to get a law changed
Mm,
somehow that internet companies like Facebook and all of these different internet companies allow people to come on and just put whatever they want to because
mhm,
it's freedom of speech, right?
sure.
But the same thing that goes on there, and they're specifically talking about news, not just people's opinions, just news articles, fake news articles. And then they were comparing it to, and they had people that worked in the newspaper industry on the stand going, "Yeah, if we were to print that, we would get sued and we'd go under." And, it was interesting, the battle back and forth, and you're
Yeah,
just sitting there going, "Hmm, that's an
yeah.
interesting way to look at that."
See, I don't mind topical stuff like that. I agree with you. I think that, but it's fiction, and it's
Oh, it is all
presented as
fiction.
fiction,
Yes, it
and
is,
it's not like they
100%.
say, "No, no, this is real and this is the," and that's, I guess that's what I have the biggest problem with,
Right.
not the content of what you're talking about, but framing it in a way that's, "Oh, no, I heard," and that's, frankly, that's the sad part, is some people believe that.
Yeah.
And some people believe that this, whatever, insert any fake news, right,
Yep.
left, center, it doesn't matter,
Yep.
that's the truth. And that's the real danger,
Right.
to me, because
Yeah.
they have such a powerful voice, the media,
Yeah.
and across all platforms, across, newspaper to TV especially, but the internet is wildly popular, and
Oh, yeah.
social is
Right.
incredible when it comes to the power of influencing people.
Yeah.
So, anyway.
The and that was the whole point of the
Yeah,
show, but if you just enjoy and you can put your politics aside, either direction, doesn't matter which side you're on,
right.
just to watch that show, I think it's if you especially if you like legal dramas, and I
Yeah.
do because I like, I almost became a lawyer. I was only
You're still
I was
close to,
I
right?
was 3 years away from becoming a lawyer.
Well, you still are 3 years away.
I'm still 3 years away from becoming a lawyer. But I do enjoy law dramas, and this one's got a little comedy to it as well, so it's
We
really good.
used to enjoy, what was the, this is great because now I've caught your disease of forgetting when I was the first one with it. What was the, Martin Sheen, the president,
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah,
West Wing.
West Wing.
So the West
Love The
Wing
West
was
Wing.
a fun show, and it moved so quickly.
Yep.
If you didn't pay attention, you would get lost.
Oh, yeah.
And I love the, just that part of it was interesting, how action oriented it was, and of course it was, you know uh, leading in one way or another, and, well, this is this campaign, and this is what they're doing, and, but it was clearly fictional all the way
Oh,
through,
absolutely, yeah, and
and
that's what this show is too, but they use a lot of real world things, like, for example, Christine
yes, right,
Baranski's
right,
is a staunch liberal,
okay,
and she's married to a Republican who worked for Trump in the
wow,
show
interesting,
in the show.
In the show,
And
yeah.
and she's
Oh,
trying
her
to fight
character was
her.
married to I got it. Yeah,
Correct, yeah.
yeah.
Her character, and she is trying to fight Trump on everything, but of course he works for Trump in the VA. So, yeah, it's really
Funny.
it's interesting, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It really is. So if you're
Again,
looking for another show
you
out
have a
there.
real talent for being able to see things, not in a myopic way. You can see both
I
sides, and you
wish
really do.
I'm
You
gonna
have
be
that talent.
divisive when I say this. I
We
wish
should be.
more people could do that.
Yeah, I do too, and I think it's important. The problem
Let
is,
me let me
yeah,
rephrase before you go on, I'm sorry.
okay.
I don't wish that more people would do that. I wish that wait, how did I say that? I
Forget
wish
it.
that
I
more
have no
people would
idea.
no. I think I said I
I
wish
don't
more
want to get
people were
sued.
like that. I don't wish more people were like that. I wish more people realized they could be like that.
Okay, I'm gonna walk that with you. I'll
Okay.
hold your hand through that.
All right.
Um, I think the main thing is that it doesn't hurt to look at others' point of view,
Right.
and I think that's become a challenge. It seems like, and I think largely it's because of the media and what the media does
Yes.
in
I
both
100%
directions,
agree. Yep.
and it's just sad. I understand why they're doing it, but it's being conflated with real important stuff, and most of it's just not.
Right.
Most of it is not important.
Yep.
So anyway, all that aside, it's fun to be open-minded enough to watch some of that stuff without saying, "Well, that's it. I'm turning it off."
Yeah.
While at the same point, there's some stuff that deserves to be turned off. So I will I will walk both ends of that just a little bit. Anyway,
Yes. Yes.
the travel on the ferries was interesting. We actually went. One of the main reasons was to look at an RV
Oh, geez.
while we were there,
Wow.
and it's not just any RV. It's a 45-foot diesel pusher
Oh,
motorhome.
geez. You're building a
And
house, dude. You don't need one.
okay, what do I do for the 8 months that the house isn't going to be ready?
Live in your condo?
No,
Why
we're
just
selling the condo.
I know you're selling it, but have you sold it yet?
Or listing it on Wednesday.
Are
Here's
you
the reason
really?
why.
Okay, so you're
I
gonna be selling it by
believe
Thursday.
Yeah, I believe that if we wait till the
The house is
beginning of
done.
next year, we're gonna
It's not
lose money on the condo.
yeah.
I really
It's
think so. I think
that is probably
things
smart.
are and I'm not sure it is. How can you be? But that's what I've talked myself into, and Lisa
Yeah.
tends to believe it as well. So I
Well, if you
figure
look at the market right now, I
yeah,
think that's a smart move.
I think the market is about as strong as it's going to be.
Mhm.
And so what that does to us is makes us either move twice and rent an apartment, which is
Right.
I probably don't have to tell you that's what Lisa's leaning toward.
Okay.
Or
Which is interesting because I would say my wife would be leaning towards the camper.
really?
Yeah, because
Well,
we've done the 2 moves before, and
yeah.
we've done that several times, and it's a pain in the butt.
Okay, honey, listen to Nick. And that's something to think about.
Oh, yeah. You want me
But
to that could be a whole other episode on our double
it's gonna
moves.
be instead of me sitting here, it'll be Lisa. That would make all of our fans happy.
Yeah, it would.
But yeah, and
Actually, we should
look,
have Jen and Lisa talk about it. Go
we
ahead. I'm sorry.
probably
I keep
should
interrupting
put
you.
no, that's good. We should probably put them both on. Not only would that give us time off, but it'd be a lot better show.
Right. We'd lose our show though, so that wouldn't be necessarily a good thing.
Maybe, but maybe they would get wealthy and well known, and then you and I could just market them.
That's not a bad idea.
Or they'd hire better marketers.
So, folks, this is the last PoddiMouths episode with John and myself. I know you're relieved, but
some are saying, yes. Okay. Yeah, I know. Well, so don't change the downloads because Lisa and Jen are going to take things over.
Right.
We'll have to think of a catchy, like PoddiMouth. They're still PoddiMouths. I know them.
Well, there's the PoddiMouths female edition.
The Poddy Wives.
Poddy Wives. Oh, snap.
Hey, who says we're not marketers?
Right? We're
and
so good at this.
You and
Someone should pay us to do this.
We can travel in the RV and we'll call it the Poddy Wagon.
I thought we already called it the Potty Pod.
No, I don't want to call it that. That's
my name.
Terrific. That's a brilliant idea.
I
yeah.
thought so.
I can't believe you. Yeah. Didn't want to do that.
Okay.
So this diesel pusher It's a Holiday Rambler.
Okay.
You probably heard of them. It's like a 2005. New, the things go for $250,000.
Mhm.
And this one was, let's just say, substantially less than that because
Really?
it's 15 years old or,
Okay.
17 years old. And, uh, but there's stuff you just when you buy a used vehicle, you
Mhm.
kinda go, you and I know this, your risk is, what if something's wrong with it? What
And
if and when it's a 45 foot, it's not just a diesel engine, it's your house
yeah.
at the
Well, and
same
the
time.
house part doesn't scare me. I mean, we've seen plenty of YouTube videos going back to that. We should be sponsored
Sure,
by YouTube.
we actually should.
Um, they, the house part is fine because yes, it's a little bit more difficult because you're not dealing with wood and drywall, which you
Right.
could technically, but
Yeah, I've
you
seen a guy
have
that built that,
yeah.
but you gotta have a pretty sturdy vehicle
Yes,
to pull it.
frame, exactly, yeah. But
'Cause
you
it's
can
heavy.
you you can go in and you can make changes, you can update it, you
Sure.
can make it look brand new on the inside. The thing that scares me, and I know I could do it, I probably make a lot of mistakes, but I know I
Yeah.
could do it because 'cause I've done
Mhm.
enough of stuff like that. I have never worked on an engine, let alone a diesel engine,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
that would scare the crap out of me.
You know what? I can hire somebody who's a really good diesel mechanic because 'cause they're out there. They're
But then
not
you're
nearly
but at that point, when you're having someone fix your diesel engine, by the time it's fixed and everything is running the way it needs to be, it's probably
Yep.
gonna break again, but
You
it's probably
need
gonna cost you just as much as a new one.
it might well, no, it won't cost you that much, but if you think about it, that's why you need to buy something that runs well. Diesel engines, as you know, this one had 122,000 miles on it.
Oh, that's not bad.
That's
15 years
nothing
old?
for a
That's
diesel
nothing.
engine.
Right.
Yeah, diesel engines, typically, if they're well maintained, especially these big ones, are and this is a
Oh,
Cummins
wow.
diesel, and it's a terrific engine historically. So you try to buy it, one that's been maintained well,
Mhm.
and then drive the thing, you know?
Yeah. They'll
The
go
beauty about
400,
it
500,000 miles.
well, for sure, if not more. I mean, they'll go a
Right.
million miles, but most people who are gonna use them as an RV are not gonna drive that much. They'll drive it
Right.
to a place, they'll park it, maybe however long you wanna stay, and that's kind of the beauty of it. A month or a week, or if you hate the neighbors, couple of nights, and then you move on to the next
Right.
place. A lot of people are doing that these days. The diesel can haul so much more
Mhm.
weight that the diesel ones all have hardwood cabinetry and nice tile floors, and I mean, they've got heavy stuff in them. The
Yeah.
gas-powered ones, it's more fiberboard, it's more and so they tend to rattle more going down the road,
Yeah.
and so, it's just interesting the stuff you learn looking at it. I I want to lose as little money as possible. I guess that's what I'm looking at. So if you could
Sure.
buy one for 50 grand and then sell it 6 to 8 months from now for 45,
Mhm.
I'm a happy guy.
Yeah.
Because if we rent a place, it's
You're
gonna
gonna
be
spend that
1,500 to 2 grand a
yeah.
month, and it's
And
gone.
let me ask you this,
Yeah.
is does the neighborhood that you're moving to, the one where you're building a house, will they allow you to park that on your property?
No.
Okay. Well, that's a
So we
downside.
it's one. I mean, I'm sure they wouldn't, but there wouldn't be room anyway for the
Okay.
with the building and so on going on. I'm guessing. There are, if you join so this is all my research, if you join a thing like Thousand Trails, it's an
Mhm.
RV club, 600 some dollars a year, 700 a year, you get pretty much half price into RV parks,
Okay.
hundreds of them around the country.
Sure.
So it costs you 25 bucks a night, 30 bucks a night if you have full hookups and all of that. And so for a month, it's 900 bucks.
Yeah.
Um,
Still technically cheaper than renting.
it's a
Sort of. And
thousand
you can move
dollars a
your
month
house,
cheaper. Yeah. So
and you
it's,
could keep it and literally take it out and travel with it.
you and I are more willing to look at something like that. She's not as much. And the problem is down in Florida, if you're close to the coast with a rental property,
Mhm.
it the rent goes up at least another third on
Oh,
season.
sure. Absolutely.
So, and we're gonna need it both off and on season.
Yeah.
if we're there for 6 to 8 months. So
Right.
anyway, we'll see how it all goes. And I I told her I'm happy to do what she wants, but we got to look at the big picture because I don't want to just throw money at it and say, well, wait. The thing is, can we save money by selling now? We'll see. Maybe nobody will buy the place and we'll be in here
Oh,
for
I
8
doubt
months
that. I
and
doubt
that's
that.
fine.
You'll probably get into a bidding war if
I,
it's anything like everywhere else in this country right now.
yeah, that's the way it's been.
Yeah.
And we did very well on our house that we sold a year and a half ago.
Right.
That's all it's been.
Yeah.
And so anyway, yada yada. It's we'll see how it all turns out, but it's kind of fun going through it. It's entertaining. I just need to spend less time researching because I
Yeah.
think I know as much as I need to know now.
Right.
So
You just got to decide and then do it. Hi,
yep,
Lisa.
yep. Nick says hi. You're getting Indy. Oh, Lisa's we're talking about you anyway.
Yeah,
So.
we are.
I guess they're going for a walk.
Oh, fun.
Yes. Thanks
That's
to take Indy
fun.
out.
Jen's been at the studio all day. Two things. One, because we were talking about
Yeah.
travel, and then two, let me just finish up that thought.
For
Jen was
sure.
at the studio today decorating for tomorrow's camps that start tomorrow.
Awesome.
So that was her travel. But today, actually, which for people that are listening to this was 2 weeks ago. Did you know that today was the flight of Richard Branson's first flight into space?
I did know that. Yes,
Did
I
you watch
saw
it
that.
this morning?
I did not. I
I
did not.
did.
That was this morning. And
And it was so anticlimactic. I'm sure being on that ship would have been great,
sure.
but they were literally in space for 30 seconds. Like they
And that
went
was
up.
it?
That was pretty much it, literal space, but they were up there for 2 minutes. And then the way the ship goes up, so they go up to, they fly on the launch vehicle, which is another airplane, the host vehicle or whatever they
Like the
called it.
space shuttle sort of a thing.
Sort of, but they drop them
Okay.
from that and then they rocket up.
Yeah.
So they get up to about 46,000 feet and then they drop them and the rocket ship goes up. The ship goes up, it hits space, then it tilts. So the fins that are along it, the stabilizers, they rotate up. And so the capsule rotates down and they kind of act as, it's supposed to be the best of what I was listening to. It's supposed to be the best of two worlds. It's supposed to be like a capsule when it's in space, but then once you get into the atmosphere, it turns back into a glider. So it functions that way, and you can actually point straight down, so people in the capsule can look at the Earth.
Okay.
And they're weightless, and they're up there for about 2 minutes, and then they just come right back down, and then they land like a regular airplane. The entire thing took maybe 45 minutes from the beginning of the video where they were flying up to them going up into space, to them coming down, landing all the way, and getting in the cars.
So there's no re-entry issue?
Nope.
Because they weren't high enough.
No, they were high enough. I mean, they were in technical space. They were 50 miles above the Earth's surface.
Isn't there a re-entry then as they come into the atmosphere?
Yeah, but they re-enter like a capsule. So it just comes down straight.
Well,
with
but
the wings that are
heat
up.
Heat shields.
Yeah, they have a heat shield on the bottom. We didn't see the flames. We might see it later, but we don't see the flames.
All right. Interesting.
And yeah, it just comes down like it's in almost like a flat spin, but it's not spinning with the stabilizers that are straight up. Looks like a Batman. And then once they hit a certain point, the nose starts to dip because they're hitting the air, and then the wings go back, or the stabilizers go back, and now they have wings, and they just glide in like an airplane. It was pretty impressive.
No power, no power as they glide in.
Just
and
a glider.
How many were in the capsule thing?
There were 6 total, 2 pilots and then 4 mission specialists, what they were calling them, because they were all researchers. One was one of Richard Branson's VPs. One of them was Richard Branson, and then the other 2 were some other researchers.
Interesting.
Yeah,
but anticlimactic.
I thought it was kind of I mean, it was cool. Don't get me wrong, but for people that are, I don't know how much it's going to cost. They're calling it a space line, like an airline, a space line.
Okay,
and it's people that can pay to go up for that 2 minutes and they come back down. But one of the sponsors is Range Rover, and they have a special Range Rover that only people that take the flight can buy. And all of their gear is Under Armour. I mean, it's It's expensive, like, and you can only like the
Wow.
place that they have to do all the launches, only people that are part of the family of people that are going up can go to this resort type area. I mean, I'm sitting there going, that sounds really expensive for 2 minutes in space.
Well,
Maybe they'll
but
get longer, but
if you have let me ask you a hypothetical question because I don't
mhm,
think this is true of you. Let's say you had $75 billion in the bank.
mhm,
You're just short of that, I think, if memory serves.
just short, a little bit
Yeah.
short.
Is it worth $1 billion for you
No,
to do that for a minute?
no.
You have 74 other billions just
So,
waiting.
wouldn't be a billion. Now,
No?
there is a price tag. If I would probably if I had that much money, if theoretically,
Yeah.
I would maybe I probably wouldn't spend any more than 1,000,000. Maybe 2.
Okay.
Maybe I would do 2.
But you'd spend 2,000,000.
I'd spend 2,000,000 to do that if I had that kind of money, absolutely.
Would would you spend maybe 2,500,000 if no, would you spend 2,000,000 even if you didn't, qualify for the Range Rover?
Yeah, probably.
You
Yeah,
can't
no,
get the
I'm just talking the
No,
experience. I'm
I
not talking
understand
about
this is the
anything else.
economy space line.
I'm definitely not getting
Yeah, you
upgraded
get
to
the
first
economy.
class with this
There
$2,000,000
is
price tag.
there's a Chevy Spark that you're the only one that can buy,
Right, exactly.
because
Hey,
you
I honestly, I don't think not I'm not knocking Range Rover. I would buy what's the Range Rover?
Discovery?
Not the Discovery, the off-road one. They just came out with it again,
Oh
recently, the
gosh,
new
okay.
version.
Alright.
Uh, anyway, there's one Range Rover I would buy, definitely. I
Okay,
really, really like that, especially the old one, the Defender. That's what it's called, the Defender.
okay.
I
Yeah.
would buy a Defender. But
Mhm.
I'm not a big fan of the rest of the Range Rovers.
You know what? We have a mutual friend who owns one, and
Mhm.
it's a cool vehicle. I
New or
love
old though? And maybe
new.
that's okay. Maybe that's
Yeah,
the cutoff. Maybe it's not just the Defender. Maybe I do like the older ones. I don't
yeah.
the newer ones, it's kinda
How
like
about
my
the
thing. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, what's the Mercedes that's like a box?
G-Wagon.
It's cool. I mean,
It's
it's
not.
well, it's not because it's like 10 tons or some crap
It's
like
oh,
not
it's
that
massive,
much,
and
but
it's
it's
supposed to be their
massive.
off-road vehicle, but I wanna know who in their right mind spends almost $200,000 on an off-road vehicle
Yeah.
without and that's before you add things to it.
Yeah,
That's just the
which you're
price
going
tag.
to, which
Right.
you're going
And
to,
and
yeah,
that's and that was exactly the point that I was getting to when it
sure.
comes to Range Rovers and things like that. They're built to be utility vehicles, they're built to be off-road vehicles. To me, same with the Mercedes. I love my Mercedes.
Mhm.
I would buy another Mercedes, but my lifestyle, the way I want my lifestyle to be, a Mercedes doesn't fit
Sure.
because it doesn't have the ability to throw crap in the back. I feel bad throwing my hiking boots in the back of in my trunk. I mean, that's and that, I know that's me. I mean, there are other people that are going, it's just a car, right? It
Yeah.
is just a car,
Mhm.
but it's a very nice car. I don't want mud in my back seat. I
Understood.
get pissed off when Peyton leaves stuff in the back seat, like her Starbucks cup or something. Yes, I said Starbucks in the back of, yeah.
Ding.
Ding. Anyway, that so for me, a Jeep or even a Bronco or something like that,
Mhm,
or a truck,
mhm.
those are designed to get dirty. Those are designed to take off road. Those are
Yep,
designed to be utility vehicles.
yep.
Everything else, I can't justify spending the money to use them in that. And maybe that's it. Maybe it's the money. Maybe if there was a cheap Mercedes G-Wagon, I'd be all over it because I do. It's kind of like the vans. I love the vans. I would rather get a Mercedes Sprinter than another brand Sprinter
Mhm.
and turn that into a home on wheels. But
Sure.
that's a utility vehicle.
Yeah, I agree.
I
And I know you're struggling to define it a little bit, and I'm the same way, especially when it comes to leasing versus buying.
yes,
And you and I have had that conversation before, but I would never lease a Jeep
right.
because
I
I wanna own it.
Right. Yeah, but and
Um,
now we
yeah,
have had the discussion about
yeah,
leasing a Jeep, and the only reason I would lease a Jeep is because there are no real incentives on a Wrangler because everyone wants one, so they can just sell them. They can sell them for over MSRP if they
And
want
you
to.
know what? Good
And
for
people will
them.
still buy them. Right.
Good for them. It's ridiculously expensive.
It's
I'm
ridiculous.
sorry.
I mean,
Like
and
the
that's the thing.
G-Wagon is.
Right. If I were to go out and buy the Jeep that I want,
Yep.
it would actually, if you were to compare it to the Mercedes that I
Yep.
have, if I would
Yep.
have purchased it new, the Mercedes that I want is more expensive than, or I'm sorry, the Jeep that I want is more expensive than the Mercedes that I drive
Yes.
new.
Yes.
It's crazy.
It does not make sense to me.
It doesn't make sense to me.
Look, they're making money hand over fist. Good for them. It's
Yep.
a vehicle that does that for them. I was looking at a story for another time. I was looking at a used pickup truck and looking at Silverados and F-150s and Titans and Tundras and yada yada, just to kind of see what's out there. A 3-year-old, let's just pick an F-150 with under 10,000 miles on it, I can get for under 40 grand. You can't touch a new Jeep for that.
Nope.
You can't. I mean, and even a pre-owned one, you'd be hard pressed to touch in the same condition.
You're not really losing that much money if you buy a Jeep. And that's the benefit. That's why they're so expensive. If you buy a Jeep, you can sell it for almost the same as you bought it.
And people might say that for property in Florida right now too. I think a lot of that is going to change.
I agree.
I think if you are planning your retirement by buying and selling new Jeeps for a profit,
yeah,
or buying and selling stupid property in Florida for a profit, you're going to be sorely surprised, I think, at some point in time.
Absolutely.
So
but anyway, that's the only reason I would lease a Jeep though is because I do want one pretty badly. And if I leased one, I could lease one for 3 years. It would have a lower payment. Then I could turn around and buy out the lease at the end, and it might be a little bit cheaper.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I think you're right, and that's a good way to look at it. My problem is when I lease a vehicle, I'm always so careful. I'm more careful with it because you got to turn it in at some point, and or at least that's my measure of it.
No, but how many people do you know? I've owned one new one and one used one. My new Jeep, I never took that thing off road. Never took that thing off road. My used one, I was fine with that.
Pick a percentage of people who buy new Jeeps. What percentage do you think take them off road?
10 max.
Oh, I'd say that's high.
Really?
Well, let's say this: take them off road more than 5 times.
Okay,
I think if you're new, let's take it off road, and
and define off road.
Entrance ramp. Yeah, I know. You go by an entrance ramp on the interstate. You go, oh, I went off road. Oh.
Yeah, I went off road once in my Jeep. I drove through a ditch with snow in it. That was just to see if it could.
That counts. I have had the pleasure of doing serious off-road stuff.
Yes, you have.
At the Hummer plant. Oh my gosh, their off-road thing was just the coolest ever, and you would have eaten it up had you been there. It's so they had the water you drive through, and they had it was just the right height, 42 inches or something like that, and just all of these cool formations that it was really fun stuff. Off-roading is great fun. It's not done at high speed.
No,
most people are like, it's gonna be you go airborne, and then you have $14,000 worth of damage. So yeah, it's not like that. But low speed it's really cool. People who don't think it's exciting are missing out.
It can be a lot of fun. It absolutely can be.
My gosh. Yeah.
Anyway, so cool. John,
look at us, man.
I know. We could probably stretch this another hour, but I do have to go. It is Sunday.
Not only that, what did you say? I do have a life.
I do have a life. No, I didn't say that because right now I don't. I'm going to be going back to my second job.
Yeah,
or third job because I'm designing ads for Jen's upcoming registration day, which is Saturday, July 17th.
How has so let's talk about the dance studio for just a moment. How has reception been? Because you've been at the farmers market, right?
Oh yeah,
with a pop-up. Tell me how.
I mean, it's a farmers market where we don't have anything to sell, so it's awareness. That's pretty much it.
People take
Some do, yeah.
brochures and
Sure.
do you does she ever do they ever have like a
Performances. Yep.
demo or something like
Mhm.
that?
They
That's
did this
awesome.
last week or yeah, this last Thursday.
That's really good.
One of the teachers, one of the students did a performance, not a performance, but they actually held their class on stage. So,
That's very cool.
yeah. Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I really like
She's
that. I think that's awesome.
And we actually got in the last day, we actually got a bunch of people that signed up for the camps this week, which was great and unexpected and great. So,
Yeah,
we're just but we don't have that many people signed up for the year, which I guess happens all the time. People wait till the last
sure.
minute, but
Yeah,
we'll be starting shortly. So we are doing a registration push now. Now that we've
cool.
got summer out of the way from an advertising standpoint.
Yeah. Well, I love all the stuff. If you're not to our listeners and viewers, if you're not following the studio on Instagram, you should be. It
At
is
Bellpack, BELLEPAC.
at Bellpack,
Yep.
and it is there. She just is always posting cool stuff, and I'm assuming it's Jen that does most of it.
Yes.
Yeah, I just like the stuff that she posts, and it's getting to know people who are some of the teachers, but some of the students, and just little stuff like
Yep.
birthdays, and
I'm
it's
actually
just
re
amazing.
I'm really excited because I told Jen a good idea to do is let some of the students take over on the, social media accounts,
Good
and I
idea.
signed her up with TikTok too, and some of the students are really excited about it. So I'm looking forward to some of the content that they produce moving
Awesome.
forward. Yeah.
That's exciting. Well, and
Yeah.
my granddaughter has started taking dance lessons as well, ballet.
It's a
And
good place to
it's
start.
oh my gosh, and she's just loving it,
Good.
yeah, just some great,
Now they just need to
instructors.
move to Tennessee and partake in the
She'll have a place
classes
to
that are
go.
offered by Bellpack.
Sure, and I'm sure that Tennessee move is very likely to happen. Yeah, because then they'd leave us in Florida, and they'd come
Yeah,
up to
right after your
Tennessee.
house is finished.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
That'd
Yeah,
be
but you could sell it
super.
and make a profit.
Yeah, I know. You can count on that. Right as soon as I buy that Mercedes G-Wagon and sell it
Right,
for, yeah,
exactly,
big
exactly.
profit.
All right, my
Always
friend.
good talking with you, buddy.
Very nice talking to you. Nice to talk to all of you, and
Thanks,
if
y'all.
you would like to hear more of the podcast, and, if you missed the last episode, which was the beginning of this episode, head up
Same
to
clothes.
poddymouths.com,
Same clothes.
look for, all of that, information, all of those episodes on the website, and I was trying to weave merch into there because that's what John was doing. For those of you who aren't watching, he was waving his shirt, and I'm like, "Dude, if you're not wearing deodorant, I'd hate to be in that room."
I am. It's delightful.
Well, good. I have some deodorant right here if you need some.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
imagine you do carry it right next to your
I do.
desk.
Well, I
Try the
so
bathroom.
Well, I just got some new stuff and I was bringing it up to my bedroom to put in my suitcase, and then I just kept it in my hand as I was walking up because the next flight to my office, which is connected to my bedroom, so I just
Was
forgot it.
So coming to that next flight, was that flight delayed or was that? Oh,
Ah,
oh,
ah, ha,
did
ha,
I get
ha,
there?
ha. On that note, guys, we'll see you next week.